Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a topic that is absolutely critical for any school with a science program: managing hazardous chemicals. Now, I know it sounds intense, but getting this right is just so important for keeping everyone, students and staff, safe. So let's dive in and break it all down.
Okay, let's start with a question that, honestly, every school with a science lab needs to ask itself. Think about that chemical storage closet. Is it a well-oiled machine, a source of safety, or is it, well, a hidden hazard just waiting to happen? How can you really know for sure?
Well, the secret to real safety isn't some dusty checklist you pull out once a year. No way. The answer is a cycle. We call it the circle of hazardous chemical management. And it's a powerful system that's all about constant improvement, not just ticking a box and forgetting about it. So here's our game plan. We're going to walk through this whole circle. First, we'll get the big picture, the why behind it. Then we'll break it down into two key phases, the proactive phase and the active phase. We'll also dig into the single most important tool that makes this all work: your inventory. And finally, we'll see how it all comes together to create a true culture of safety. So, what's the big deal about this circle approach? I mean, why a circle and not just a good old-fashioned to-do list? What makes this framework so effective? It really all comes down to that phrase, ongoing process. The whole point of the circle is that safety is never really done. It's a continuous commitment, where the lessons you learn in one stage directly feed into and improve the next. It's a living system. All right, so where do we jump into this circle? Well, it all starts with making smart, preemptive decisions. This entire first half is about stopping problems before a chemical even makes it through the front door. This foundation is built on three really key steps. First, there's proactive planning. Second, smart purchasing. A great rule of thumb is to never buy more than a 2-year supply. And third, and this is a big one, proper storage. That means organizing by hazard category, not alphabetically. Get these three things right, and you've basically stopped most potential problems right in their tracks. The big takeaway here is just a pause before you buy. Think of it like a pre-flight checklist for every single purchase. Do we really need this for the curriculum? Do we have a safe place to store it? And maybe the most important question of all, what's our plan to get rid of it safely when we're done? Answering these questions up front is a total game changer. Okay, so once a chemical is on the shelf and stored properly, the circle moves into its next phase, the active phase. This is all about what happens in the lab itself, during and after an experiment. This part is all about safe execution and, just as importantly, learning. It kicks off with proper use, making sure everyone has the right training and safety gear. Then comes managing the waste with super clear labels and procedures. And finally, evaluation. Look, if an accident happens, the goal isn't just to clean it up. It's to find the root cause, the real reason it happened, so you can fix the system itself and make sure it never, ever happens again. Now, here's what's really cool. There is one tool that connects every single one of these steps and makes the whole system tick. It's the brain of the entire operation, your chemical inventory. A super simple color-coded system can make managing this a breeze. You see a red dot on a container? That means stop. That's it. This chemical is marked as waste and is ready for proper disposal. No questions, no guesswork. Then you've got your blue dot. Blue means go. This chemical is part of your active supply, it's in good shape, and it's ready to be used in the lab. Simple as that. And if you come across a yellow dot, that's your signal for caution. Hold on a second. Maybe the label is peeling, maybe you don't know its history. Whatever the reason, this chemical needs a closer look before you decide if it's safe to use or if it needs to become waste. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Starting an inventory from scratch sounds like a massive job. And yeah, it can be. But the best way to get started is with a comprehensive template, something just like this. The goal is to track everything: the name, its hazards, exactly where it's stored, and how much you have. But listen, an inventory is only good if it's reliable, and that means you have to follow a few golden rules. You've got to update it every year, add new chemicals the second they arrive, and this is a huge one: make sure it's only handled by trained staff, period. Never students. So we have the process, and we have the essential tool. Now, let's bring it all home and see how they connect to close that loop and create a system that's always getting better. Remember, this is a loop for a reason. Everything is connected. For example, when you're evaluating the waste from an experiment, that's step 6,
That directly tells you what you need to know for planning your next purchase back in step 1. Was there too much left over? Was it a pain to dispose of? That information makes your next decision so much smarter and safer.
And that really gets to the heart of it. That first big inventory, yeah, it takes real effort. There's no sugarcoating it. But once it's done, keeping it up becomes a simple, shared responsibility. When everyone does their small part, safety just becomes part of the daily routine, not some giant yearly project you have to dread.
So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Take a hard look at your school's safety program. Is it just a checklist of tasks to get through, or is it a living, breathing circle of improvement? Because making that shift from a finite list to a continuous loop is what will truly keep your students and staff safe.